Disneyland news time. This is where we bring you all the headlines fit to share in the Disneyland spectrum. Today, it is all about the most fantastic news, the news we've all been waiting for, the news we have longed to hear, and that is Disneyland Resort theme parks are officially reopening after more than a year of closure. Disney CEO, Disney Chief Executive Officer Bob Chapek said the following in a statement saying, "Here in California, we are encouraged by the positive trends we're seeing and we're hopeful they'll continue to improve and we'll be able to reopen our parks to guests with limited capacity by late April. We look forward to publicizing an opening date in the coming weeks." While last week's announcement stated that theme parks may open starting on April the 1st, the fact is it will take some time to get them ready for our guests. This includes recalling more than 10,000 furloughed cast and retraining them to be able to operate according to the state of California's new requirements. I am pleased to say that the response has been great thus far. Our cast members are excited to get back to work, and this is also good news for the Anaheim community, which depends on Disneyland for jobs and business generated by visitors. This is such big news. This is such a huge milestone for us to move forward into. And certainly, I feel like anytime we take a little break on this broadcast, anytime there's an absence of us and we didn't have a live show, last week when the news broke, something big always seems to happen when we're not around. Maybe we should take more weeks off and we'll just fast forward through this thing and be back to normal in no time. But it's the best news to hear that the Disneyland Resort theme parks are officially reopening. State of California guidelines have been refreshed according to the Health and Human Services Department for the state, and as numbers continue to crater across the board for the pandemic via the virus itself, via ICU visits, via deaths, everything is on the downslope, which is wonderful to see. Orange County itself moving into the red tier, so we have that color-coded system in the state of California that allows different institutions, different places to reopen based on the color things are. Moving into that red tier is certainly great news because it is a far less restrictive category that allows for indoor dining and a lot of indoor options that weren't available before, now coming back online. And the other big news that comes with this indoor dining and these sorts of things happening, not only allowing Disneyland and Universal Studios Hollywood and theme parks of that size to reopen indoor dining type items, is also the fact that Disneyland may, because they are pushing out that date until the end of April. An official reopening will happen at some point towards the end of the month, but Deadline is saying the following: that Disneyland will likely reopen with 66% greater capacity than anticipated. They mention in their story that the happiest place on earth may be even happier than expected when it reopens in April. California Governor Gavin Newsom announced Wednesday that the state is close to meeting its goal of inoculating 2 million Californians in underprivileged communities, and that milestone, according to a recent order from the state, triggers a relaxing of requirements to move from a more restrictive purple tier to the governor's reopening plan to less. Furthermore, Newsom announced last week that theme parks could reopen at a very limited capacity on April the 1st. It won't matter in Orange County, though. Officials there say they are on track for making it into the red tier. As we just announced, it is officially happening as of Sunday, the 14th. We expect Orange County to open into the red tier in the coming weeks, said Orange County CEO Frank Kim. And they go on to say that with these restrictions being loosened and tiers dropping, that means that there is likely going to be an additional percentage of allowance when it comes to letting people back into the theme park. So not just the 15% that was originally predicted, but now much more like 25, somewhere in that category. So the percentage is increasing as we speak, and it is terrific news to hear because we have been waiting a long time for this, and who knows what that 15% capacity would have looked like on an already restricted window of what would have been allowed back into the theme park. So to have an even bigger percentage is fantastic. Katrina, the best news.
I am so excited. I know, I was really sad that we were like off last weekend. I was like, no! But I'm so thrilled. I'm so happy that all these cast members are getting called back. I am really happy to see the happiest place on earth start like living again, you know. I was super stoked to do like a touch of Disney, and then when this news broke, I was just so excited. I'm hoping that they stay. I'm still kind of weird around people. I'm like very antisocial now. So when people get near me, I like run away. But I'm really excited. I think a good like 15% to 25% occupancy is like enough
Mm-hmm.
right now for like California residents only. At the moment, I'm like okay with this, like with the rules and stuff. But I'm really, really stoked that this is happening.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising to hear how quickly things are moving all of a sudden. You know,
Yeah.
we talk about this all the time, how fluid things are and how week to week radical changes just seem to occur.
Crazy.
And, you know, Tyler, you've said it before, you know, make it make sense. Fortunately, we're finally seeing cascading numbers everywhere. Everything is on that downslope. More people are being vaccinated across the board. So great news is coming from that. Do you anticipate a specific date in mind when it comes to that April official announcement of reopening?
No, I don't really have a specific date. I don't know. I also don't have a calendar. I mean, I could pull it up, but I don't know. I would think like probably the last weekend. I would think
Really hold out. Yeah.
Yeah, like and that's kind of what I was expecting, like a late spring kind of open type of thing. So that's I'm happy. I'm excited. This is gonna be cool. Disneyland's reopening, everybody. So I mean, get ready. It's gonna be really. I gotta be honest. This news article like scared me a little bit because it says Disneyland will likely reopen with 66 greater capacity than expected, and I was like, wait, hold on, wait, does that mean it's gonna be like 80% capacity or
Yeah, it's a
something?
little misleading. Yeah.
But then you read it and you're like, oh no, it's not as bad as it sounds. So, I mean, just from a selfish point of view, imagine how amazing it's going to be to step into Disneyland with a 25% capacity.
Right.
I mean, that's going to be an incredible sight to see. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Of course, for everybody's benefit, I want the numbers to keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
But I am excited to see Disneyland to be a little slow when I go back. I hope I get some good photos. Let me put it that way. And then,
yeah, that 15% originally that was quoted, right out of the gate, got me really excited because I thought, imagine being part of that 15% and just how quiet Disneyland will be without anyone in it. You're absolutely right. Like, just to have that sort of reserved space, for a small portion of people, but certainly holding out until the very end of April, and the way in which the tiers are set up and the removal of tiers are set up with the 2-week windows and stuff like that. There's a real possibility with the trajectory as it is going, that 25% somewhere in that category can be met. And then, of course, even more. And we also heard from the White House this week that the plan is for all adults to have a vaccine that want one by May 1st and have that as a goal to start, I should say. Yeah. So knowing that, my goodness, you think about maybe a month and a half, 2 months of a window there, and life looks very different by summer.
Yeah, well, things are happening like.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like one thing I can say about this whole pandemic situation in general was that it was probably like the most chaotic like year of my life in a lot of ways. Like it just felt like things would change each and every day. Like we didn't know what was happening, Tuesday and then to Wednesday. Like it was just a different thing every single day, and that's where it's continuing to be. Now it's like Disneyland is just one day reopening now, so it's an exciting thing, and I'm gonna have to get used to, like Katrina said, it's like I'm a little bit I've been trained to be scared of people a little more now, so it's gonna be one of those things where we're gonna have to get used to people going back to normal life, and now I'm gonna get a little heebie-jeebies in the beginning, I'm sure, but you gotta it's what we've been saying all along. You gotta follow the science, and we can't just let our animal brains just be frightened forever. We have to.
That's okay. I'll stay inside.
We have to listen to what these doctors are saying, we're moving forward. So that's what I have to tell myself is like, yeah, we're moving forward. It's getting safer. So yeah, I can be okay with this.
Yeah. And it's very much a sense of turning over a new leaf, and there's a sense of optimism that I haven't seen in a while suddenly rippling through the ether, and I'm noticing a lot more people out and about, a lot more people coming into the open again. It's wonderful to see.
Traffic is getting worse and worse.
Horrible. So like everybody's living their lives now, it's like kind of crazy to think about like how now it's just the traffic has doubled on the weekends, and it's insane.
And LA County too, entering that restricted red tier. So
Monday,
less of tomorrow, Monday, one of those days. But entering that less restrictive tier where indoor dining and things can continue to happen. Movie theaters reopening. I mean, it's just It's so nice to see a semblance of normalcy come back to our lives and things start to move into a place where, quite frankly, to see a vaccine even as fast as we did, to just be rolling this quickly, to have a scientific community that can do something like that fast, and have competing companies all vie for that opportunity to say, we're going to help, we're going to try and fix this. Terrific news to see it all cascading in the right direction. About time. And if you're somebody that's wondering whether or not Avengers Campus will be opening with Disneyland theme parks and California Adventure, you're not alone. A lot of people are wondering. Unfortunately, it looks like Avengers Campus at California Adventure will not be reopening, or will not be opening with the reopening alongside Disneyland and California Adventure. The expansion itself, obviously something that everybody's been geared up and excited to see. I know that originally it was planned for summertime, and the excitement of summertime last year was when it was supposed to debut and things were supposed to hit. And we were going to see all this really cool activity with a whole new land inside California Adventure. Well, Disney's doing probably the smart thing in this capacity, and that's waiting until a little bit later in the year. They definitely announced that it's going to happen within this year, but we'll probably wait and see that to occur, I would imagine, likely down the road, probably closer to Christmas time. I'm sure they're really going to hold out for the sake of allowing enough time to elapse, I bet, for, and I think I mentioned this before, obviously Disney wants the most bang for their buck when it comes to these new experiences. They don't necessarily want to have to restrict a whole bunch of people from being able to see something new. You want that bang for your buck. So they are likely going to wait until the very end of the year to open up something like this for the sake of having the most amount of people be able to come enjoy it. And who knows what things will look like again by summertime. Not surprised, Katrina, that Avengers Campus isn't opening.
I think they're waiting to make like a really big opening debut and like get the celebrities out there, and like how are you supposed to do this during like the pandemic, and how many celebrities can you possibly get right now at like 15% capacity? Right. It's just not going to be what they want it to be. So I can see like they're going to open it once they start getting into like a higher capacity at like 35% like Disney World, then we can like talk about it at that point to see when they're going to make that big debut and see Spider-Man flip through the air. And
it's also a real marketing opportunity for them, to sort of hold that carrot out in front of the public that, my visit to Walt Disney World recently certainly showcased to me that people are comfortable traveling again. Everybody, there is pent up demand. People are ready. So to be able to, dangle that carrot and bring in as many people as possible in a cash strapped, and I say that loosely, company at the moment, certainly they're going to hold out for something like that. Theme parks reopening without Avengers Campus, unfortunately. Tyler?
Yeah, makes complete sense. They do these things to bring people in. They can't bring extra people in. Right now, the main attraction is Disneyland itself. They don't need Avengers Campus.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to see that castle again, that's the attraction everybody wants to see.
We're paying $75 to, be able to go walk through, exactly. California Adventure. I don't know. I always struggled so much with the name of that theme park, but we're paying $75 for that. It's like, okay, yeah, we want to go see the parks again,
right?
So
yeah, something that also stood out to me when it came to the news of things reopening. Obviously this Touch of Disney food event only lasting a very small window of time. The question was raised recently of like, do you think Disney knew that this was about to happen? And I kind of read into things here and definitely thought that if Disney knew this was going to happen, if they knew that the state was going to say, hey, now's the time we can refresh these rules and allow things to move forward starting April 1st. I think Disney would have been ready April 1st to reopen things. I think Disney would have been prepared for something like that. Disney CEO Bob Chapek saying, of course, we're not quite ready. We need to train and get everybody back and start setting things up again. So the end of April will be our time frame. But I think that goes to show us once again, as we have followed this journey all the way through last year and all the way into this year, and that is still, even now, the state was not communicating with theme park leaders, with the executives like they said they were all along. This came almost as a surprise based on Bob Chapek's statement. And so now they're racing to, okay, now let's open. I mean, it's good news, but They're
Yeah.
still not
It-
after all this time.
Well, you know, like the thing I look back on when Iger like left that whole commission that was started,
the,
and
the reopening committee.
yeah, the reopening committee, and it was like one of those things where in my head when he left, it seemed, and I don't really know, you know, none of us really know Bob Iger or like his business stylings necessarily. I mean, we know like the big stuff, but
Mhm.
like it really seemed like he just like walked away like in a really abrupt like it didn't seem like a Bob Iger thing to do to me.
I agree. Yeah.
And so now like looking back on it, he must have just been really getting the runaround, and he was just like, this is like not even worth my time anymore
Yeah.
because I like they're not even being real, they're not even talking to me,
No one's
you
listening.
know. Yeah.
I mean,
So,
they literally
yeah.
announced a touch of Disney, and then Universal like announced their taste of Universal, and then boom, the next day the state's like, oh hey, guess what? Theme parks can open again April 1st, and then now the theme parks are like, you got to be kidding me.
Well,
we just added like extra weeks to like a touch of Disney
Sure.
and stuff like that,
Well-
just because they didn't know when they were going to be opening.
The other thing to remember
So-
too, though, is that what was it? Was it a couple weeks ago? Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago now. Six Flags was just out there on Twitter being like, "Hey,
Yeah.
we're opening in
We're
April.
doing it.
We're going," and that was news to everybody.
They
and
got
so
the inside
and
scoop
so
or
maybe
something.
maybe these other theme parks actually did know this, and they just weren't like Six Flags being like blasting it out there, you know.
But then Disney, I don't feel like Disney would have extended their a touch of Disney for $75 when they can cut it at that date,
But
and
who
then
knows-
charge like $200 a ticket for both parks,
Yeah.
or something like
Who
that.
knows
you
how
know?
much time they feel like they need to train everybody up and get ready and bring people back, because we're talking about tens of thousands of people here, and it's not going to be like a quick process. It's going to take them a lot of time. So
But
you
I mean,
know,
if this was supposed to be done in conjunction with them, like was being said the entire time, and you know, we watched his theme park leadership in the state and several mayors and people locally that rely on these places of business for massive amounts of jobs, when they came out and basically said, "Hey, no one's talked to us this entire time,"
Mhm.
when they basically called him out, you know, we witnessed a sort of backlash from the governor's office and from those folks, and they didn't seem all that happy
Yeah.
that they were being called out into the light as having never worked with the theme parks up until that point. And you know, I also think that it's odd timing too, because if we recall correctly, as we've reported here in recent weeks, the state assembly was moving a bill through the motions to vote, and I believe that vote was set to happen either this past week or this week, to move openings for theme parks of Disneyland size into the less restrictive tiers. And what do you know, it just happened.
Yeah,
Without a vote needing to occur, things just got refreshed, as they said. So whatever is happening, whatever is moving this forward, make it make sense, as we like to say here. Thank you, Tyler Crouch. We're happy that Disneyland is officially coming back to us after all this time. Make sure that if you are thrilled Disneyland's coming back, you're thrilled that the theme parks are reopening, give this video a big thumbs up, and let us know in the comment section down below when you think specifically in April what date Disneyland theme parks are going to be reopening, what you think that announcement will be.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.